Welcome to the Mucked Up My Self-Care podcast.
I'm Jill from New York.
And I'm Linda from Tasmania.
We are two moms from opposite sides of the world who are living, demonstrating, and helping moms across the world build their self-care asset bank.
Ready to dive in? Messy, interrupted, imperfect, and most of all mucked up. Let's get going. Hello, hello. Oh, we're in a bit of a funky funk.
Very much so. Very mucky here.
Just mucking up all over the place. Keeping it real, raw, unedited.
Yeah. Let's get to it.
Right.
Here's muck highs and muck lows.
Indeed. Yeah. So I'll go first.
Okay.
Hi for me. I am on the way to having the second book published. Piecing it all together. I have a bit of a list, of course. Sticky notes, and feeling like the process is much easier this time around. In a lot of ways. Still question myself a lot with some of it. Some chapters I feel more nervous about than others. Just strange to still be sometimes feeling that creep in. And low for me, I had a bit of a trip and stumble, being a bit unthoughtful yesterday, running around trying to chase Quinn, being an aeroplane, baby in front of me. Yep. And yeah, not that fun.
That's a good trip.
Yeah. I think I did the whole whoa, slow-mo, legs going everywhere, arms going everywhere.
A real crash land.
Yeah. I thought, whoa, I got it. No, don't have it. So yeah, it happens.
It does. I've been there. I've done that one.
How many times? Yep. What about you?
Let's see. My muck high we'll start with. I got school shopping done finally today. So in preparation for school, we have all our supplies now, and we were really low on wipes anyway. So it kind of worked out that I needed to go get wipes. And I needed it for school. So it worked out.
Wow.
That's a conversation we're going to have because you don't need to buy school supplies, supposedly.
No, not so much. Not at all. And Quinn won't start school for another 2 years anyway.
Yeah.
At least.
Long list.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Some lists. You can find them at the stores around in the school districts of what supplies you need to get for each school and teacher and stuff.
Wow.
It's cool.
Wow.
Yep. But
it's for the whole year or something. What? How do they store?
Yeah.
And logistics of what? Wow. Okay. Yep. Carry on. High.
Yeah.
That was the high. High.
Let's see, the low. Oh, we had date night last night that turned into a little bit of a chaotic mess. And it just set the rest of the time from last night into this morning and then the whole day. And I had to clean up a huge mess earlier than I was expecting to have to do some of the chores around the house today. So instead of getting my routine in at 5 o'clock this morning, like I would have normally, I was mopping floors and cleaning up other stuff, other places that I didn't want to have to do. From 5 to 7 o'clock in the morning, which just drained me completely. And I think it was just overwhelm of the evening before into the chaos of the morning that drained me. Because what is the difference of doing chores at a different time of the day? That wouldn't drain me. So a very draining day.
And because it carried on from the night before to the morning, maybe it felt like you didn't really get any rest or sleep.
Crazy how our bodies work.
We live and learn.
Yep. Ooh, speaking of living and learning, I bet you were just about to say that, weren't you?
Yeah. We've been doing this for a while now, apparently. Good job, we're going to keep going. Not only are our, cycles in sync, we're also starting to sync our brains somehow.
Seeing each other's sentences now.
It's so funny. Yeah.
Well, we see each other 4 days a week.
At least. Yep. And then message in between.
Yep.
Yeah. So grateful. So grateful. Living and learning. Yes. Tell me about living and learning and the wisdom that we can take from what just happened.
Yeah, the wisdom of self-care and being that living proof. I learned, I guess, how to take care of myself in situations like this. So there was a lot of practice being put forward today. So I guess that's where the wisdom comes into play, because this has happened in the past. So I kind of knew how to even take care of myself, not necessarily the situation. So I guess that's where that wisdom of being out loud and now talking about it and how it happened and what I did to even continue self-care for myself today because of what I've done for self-care in those other experiences. So, I let the people know who needed to know that I was low on bandwidth, that I wasn't going to be my full self, and make those preparations and make preparations later in the day for self-care time, which ended up also completely blowing up because of rain. So I couldn't get rid of Declan like I wanted to have a kid-free evening tonight.
Right. So there's so many unplanned things, it sounds like, that have happened today. It's just like, this is no. Isn't it funny how then we sometimes there are aspects of me who are like, no routine, I don't want to be locked in, blah, 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 blah. But then I feel like the older I get, the more I'm like, oh, please, routine. I really like you now. I love it now. I still want to be really spontaneous, but I also really
go outside of the routine. We have windows now where we can be spontaneous, like between 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. on Sundays.
Maybe if somebody's had a nap and if they're not all over the place, and if it's on my terms, and no, it's just.
Well, even that, I guess we can consider as the wisdom of self-care, because we now know we can't really, you and I cannot function outside of our routines, but we still crave that spontaneity. So do we plan for it with a block of window, knowing that, well, this is a good opportunity for a spontaneity, whatever.
Spontaneous.
A sporadic self-care routine item thing, whether it be with family, without family,
I don't know. Is planned spontaneity a thing? It seems quite like an oxymoron.
It really is.
We're going to make it a thing right here on the Mucked Up My Self-Care podcast. But I think there's a real difference between knowledge and wisdom. I think there's so often times where we are inexperienced or think we know and think we know something, think we might be okay with something, and then find out when we're actually doing the thing actually know. It was a lot of it was more knowledge. What's your experience with that?
I also think it has to do a little bit of like whether or not we've practiced something. So along those lines, where we may have read that, oh, this would be a good kind of self-care to do, or oh, you should go try and do this, but really with no idea how it's going to be for everybody involved with it, or the planning that goes into being able to go out and do those things. But the more that we've practiced it, that's where the wisdom then comes in to know that it almost becomes routine then in a way.
Oh my gosh, what are we doing?
I can't.
Getting ourselves into a tangled knot.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot to think about. I can see your brain going.
Yeah. Like if I didn't know, if I hadn't been through the last 24 hours in the past, I could only say, well, this is how I would handle it. But I know the last however many times I didn't handle it like I did last night.
Yeah.
Last night was the first time I handled my situation the way I originally would have thought I could handle it. But that's because I practiced getting to this reaction where I didn't let it affect me. I just let it kind of fizzle out and be what it was, and acted more like a grown-up than somebody else, maybe.
Yeah, a different version of you.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean necessarily
version.
And from what I realize as well, sometimes we can be really great, perhaps. We've just finished up talking about hormones and those sort of things. Sometimes we can be different at different stages of our cycle, maybe, or different other events that are happening around that situation. So we might have handled it better in the last 24 hours, but then maybe the next one might come up in 3 weeks and you're like, ugh, what? Yeah. But I just did it I did it so well. 3
what was
weeks
the
ago.
difference?
What's wrong with me?
Raging hormones.
Can be really demoralizing and really confusing, because we think, well, I know that I can do it. I know that I practiced and I have the skills, and so we start to compare and judge ourselves, which mucks up all sorts of things. Oh my gosh.
What growth did we just have? Because what is it that, 1 step forward, 2 steps back constantly.
Yeah. How else are you showing the living proof, do you think, to those around you and to yourself and to Declan and all that sort of stuff?
I have a friend who just messaged me, and I told him that living proof is becoming my motto, because like me being an example is like, I'm like, well, yeah, of course I'm gonna be an example, because now living proof is my motto, right? Like it's just becoming not just a campaign, it's a motto. But he said that you have to walk the path that you want others to, or you want to impact others to. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty much what it is. So every time I interact with somebody, I am not just saying what I would have done, but I'm actually acting it out. I'm putting the proof out there. Most times it's on socials, because that is the best way to actually, to share it. But there are so many people also involved in my life that just any interaction with them is also that living proof of how I'm like wanting to impact others to live their lives too. So being a leader in the My Sexy Business community, sharing our stories here on this podcast, and really being involved with our sticky note time,
Vision
what do you
boards
call it,
and
process and classes and accountability
mm,
groups and living out that, and how I'm planning out my life and living out my dream life through vision board parties and all these other crazy things, but
mm.
how I'm writing a book and
Yeah.
we'll see. And hopefully the prequel goes out soon. I don't know where our editor friend is at with that one, but there's a few other pieces being
Mm,
published, not even that doesn't even include your book with your chapter
mm.
of half of a piece of my story too. So
Yeah. Yeah.
just
It's
being outspoken about things is the living proof. And yeah,
mm, mhm. Yeah. It is lots of fun
weird,
in many
like
ways.
looking at all of it though, and like as I keep rambling on, wow, there's a lot of ways that I am being living proof. Like, oh yeah, it's no big deal. I'm just here.
No, no, no. So many ways. So many ways. Even just being able to do this in your evening and my morning, and then making friendships across the world. There's so many little things. And I think it's been very easy for me in the past to forget to celebrate the little wins and the consistent building of habits. Yeah. And that's
Yeah, and it's funny because in our mastermind that we're in, we celebrate our wins each week, just like we do with our highs and our lows. But the wins I feel like are a little bit more challenging than a high and a low because I'm not feeling like there's a whole lot of wins. And then I'm like, I showed up today. Like that half the time is a lot of our wins,
yep.
it feels
Mhm.
like.
Mhm. I had a
But
shower and brushed my
oh,
teeth. Oh my
yeah.
gosh, who am I?
Both of which I did not get to do today, and I have to go do now. Thank you for reminding me.
But seriously, like it's really real, because there's a lot of noise out there, which tells us that we need to be very much top level, high level, working their full-time job while looking after the
Mhm.
kids, while looking after ourselves, while remembering about self-care and having a shower and brushing our teeth and earning an income and balancing the budget and blah, blah, blah. The list goes on. And it's been very easy for me to just get caught up in all of that and make it like a list, check it off, next, and not actually stop and take a breath and celebrate what's going on and how much is happening
I've
as
been a
well.
little bit more aware of it by my practicing more of gratefulness and, with the whole spiritual
Yep.
growth I'm trying to work on. It's just more prayer time than I've been ever doing. And it's usually in thanks, even of the hard days, and then of like, oh yeah, this happened today. Thanks for that. Like that was a pretty cool thing. And it's easier, I think, to be grateful the more you practice it and
Mm.
realizing like, oh, I could actually repeat that because it fit into that 5-minute spot. And we both enjoyed that, Declan and I, at whatever time, or, it was actually a good thing we stopped the ice cream truck the other day and had an ice cream together. Like that was good quality time. I can't do it every day. So, but we enjoyed that. And,
Try me
like,
in about 3 weeks and we'll stop
yeah.
it every day. Yeah.
No, I
Yeah.
think that's pretty
Well,
cool too, to recognize those little things more frequently by practicing just being more grateful.
yeah. Well, you're definitely living proof that I see, and very inspirational.
Thanks, Linda. I feel like I'm
every
like
day.
just saying what everybody else says too, like, oh, practice being more grateful or being more mindful. But
It does actually work.
it
Mm.
does.
Mm.
It does.
Mm.
But,
Mm.
well,
Yeah. Mhm.
I guess I could say try it a little bit if you can.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
make your own living proof.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's also an important aspect to build a proof, build that proof that you can pull on in a way to say, well, yeah, actually, blah blah. I've been thinking about a story-worthy moment every day, so a moment that's a really great story, which then all ties into the book and all those sort of things. So sometimes it's as simple as a great conversation or a podcast episode or kids putting Vegemite and peanut butter on their toast. Ugh. Like,
I
no,
need to taste Vegemite.
I'd love to see your reaction when you do. That'd be an awesome recording live, actually. So
Well,
great.
2025, I will get the chance unless I can come across it before then.
We will see. It's interesting. It's a very interesting flavor.
Oh, wait.
All right. Much more living to do.
Yes, I
Thank
think
you.
so.
I hope that's perked us up a little bit. I believe so.
I hope it has. We did a lot of giggling in this one, and hopefully everybody else got to giggle along with us in this recording. So, well, until next time then, Linda.
Indeed. We hope you can unstuck your muck.
Bye.